Well, what we're going to do, this is going to be a really fun interactive interview with Claire. And I say interview, but it's really going to be Claire kind of controlling things. What we're going to do is we're going to talk, and I want to make sure everybody understands this is very much an open discussion. I want to encourage people that are watching to post questions, respond, because we'll have an exercise that's really fun. It's about our inner critic, which is one of my favorite discussions. Um, and so I want to encourage people, it's a safe place. Whatever pops into your head, whatever you want answered or what you want to offer, type away. Okay? Share, share, share.
I agree.
So
Yeah.
what we're going to talk about today is something, I'm a home organizer, Claire's a life coach, but this has a lot to do with everybody, and it's called the inner critic.
Yes.
My background isn't just home organizing, but it's also coaching and counseling. And we all have, when I say inner critic, and Claire's going to go into this a little bit more, it's that voice that talks to us. It's continuous. It's in there all the time. In our head, we have a voice that talks to us. And it's natural. It's supposed to be there. It's actually a good thing. But sometimes we can be very critical and sort of eat away at ourselves with that critic.
Yeah.
And today we're gonna talk about how to listen to that critic and how to use it as our friend and champion. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let Claire take over, tell us a little bit about yourself, and then go ahead and start with the exercises and discussion.
Sure.
Thanks, Claire.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, everyone. It's so nice to see these names coming up that I know, and obviously ones I don't know, and it just feels so right. So I really appreciate everyone hooking in and taking time, because I know life's busy, and I know it takes a bit of logistics and strategy to actually get to the place you want to be sometimes. So I really appreciate that, and the reviewers. So I'm going to get on with it because I love talking. Is that the inner critic is, well, a bit about me, forgot that bit. So I'm a life coach, and I retrained about 3 years ago, and it sounds so crazy, but I really feel like this is what I'm here to do. And that's part of what I do in my coaching, is like, what is your life purpose? What is the thing, the impact that you want to have on the world whilst you're here? And in my younger years, I thought that was a bit, I call it thumb symbol-y, like a bit too highbrow, a bit too like, what do you mean, what am I here to do? But as I've got older, I've really settled and realized, hey, this is important to know what you want to achieve in this life that you have, because it's way too short. So there's no waiting till tomorrow. There's no, I'll do that, when I have the house, when I have the money, when I have the experience. None of that is going to stand in your way, or at least it shouldn't. So I coach people to make sure that they are really getting the most out of the life that they are living now. And part of that is a lot of self-discovery, understanding your inner critics and your leaders, your life purpose. I'm going to go through that a bit into the chat. But, we all have so much to give and so much to share. And it's really just fear that holds us back. And it doesn't have to be that way. So that's my job. It's done by talking, conversations. It can be quite physical, as in we do exercises over the phone, on FaceTime, Skype. Hello, dog.
Go ahead.
I have clients all over the world. Obviously, I'm English, so I have people in England. I have married an Australian guy, so I have clients in Australia, and now I have clients in the States as well. So it really doesn't matter where you are. What matters is that you have a connection with someone, and you really trust them. And that's the main thing about my job, is creating trust with my clients and making them feel safe, so that in the sessions they can say anything and there is no judgment. I'm just here to support them on their journey, whatever it is. And, that's what the training is all about. So I know people are like, life coach, what is that? Well, I'm just here to support you on your journey to make sure you get the best out of life. It's really not about me and what I think you should do. It's not about advice. It's really me kind of pulling out that information from you that you already have. It's just you're scared. Sometimes you make excuses for not doing stuff. So, hi, Adrian. Hi, Nina. I'm just seeing names come up, so I'm saying hi.
Yeah, I saw Nina. Yeah. Hi,
So, yeah, less about me. That's what I like to say. More about you guys. So.
Yeah. Well, I'm holding my little baby because he's barking. So if I'm sitting here rocking this little puppy, it's because he's barking. It's too hot to throw him outside, so I apologize.
Whatever works.
Yeah, whatever works. Well, what we're going to do is, why don't we, with that in mind, let's get started with the exercise that we were going to try.
Yeah, I'd really like. Hi, Chris. Good to see you. Hi.
Yeah.
I would just really like you guys to have a think. I want to make this session like valuable, and so if you can think of something that you want to do, that you want to achieve, but you just haven't for whatever reason, if you think about that thing, like, why can't I just, lose 10 kilos? Why can't I just do that thing, set up that business, make peace with my family, whatever it is? Why, when you think about that one thing, what negative sentence, what negative voice comes up in your head? Because we can share those here. If someone could type in and comment, this is the negative statement I hear in my head fairly regularly, then we might be able to actually work on that today and just say, well, here's what I would do as a coach. So if anyone's game.
Right. So I'm gonna echo that. If you stop for just a minute, just take a couple seconds and listen to that voice. What do you hear that's negative a lot, that might be stopping you from doing that one great thing or those many great things? Is there a voice that talks to you, that stops you or criticizes you? I know I have a good example, but I'd like for somebody to type one.
Yeah.
And just jump in and say, and don't think about it, just type in what that voice says. So I'm going to just give it a couple seconds, and if we don't hear from somebody, I'm going to jump in with mine.
Sure. I mean, we all have it, and we don't just
one.
have one. Let me hear. Like, we have
Right.
so many saboteurs that are at you all the time that sometimes people say, oh, I don't really have one of those. And I'm like, you do. It's just you are so used to hearing it now that you don't recognize it as being negative. You recognize it as just being the norm.
Right. And one of the things that I used to work with folks on is to just journal, just write down whatever the voice is saying to you. Just write it down. I'll just offer one for myself. I started, it's real important to me. I have a new business. It's home organizing, and it's Are You Ready to Organize? I'm learning so much. I started off knowing nothing, not how to build a website. I know how to organize. So we know that's down. I know how to organize homes and small businesses and companies, but I don't understand the online world yet quite. So I had to build a website. There was all this education, all this writing. It just seems like my rhythm wasn't getting going because there was something else to learn. There's another 7 things to learn. There's something else. So what my voice started saying to me was, oh, you really don't know enough to do this job. I can't believe you're even trying this because you don't really know what you're doing. And people are going to see it. People are going to see you're a phony.
Yeah.
And see, that's common. That's that imposter syndrome. And that's kind of common.
Oh, yeah. But do you know that
very detrimental.
If I asked you to guess how many negative thoughts we have a day on average, can you guess how many it would be?
Well, let's see. How many do you guys think? I know it's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
And not only adults, but children too, which is the worrying thing. But so adults have 3 to 4,000 negative thoughts a day.
Oh, I was going to say a couple
No,
hundred. Okay, I was off.
they're just
I
they're
was
just
off.
like firing off as you're going through life. So with yours, what you need to do is like first of all acknowledge that it's there and that it is negative and that it is
Hmm.
holding you back. Because sometimes like,
We have
oh,
somebody else in.
it's not a problem,
Mhm.
like I don't mind, it's just the way it is, like status quo. And it's like,
Right.
no, it actually doesn't have to be like that. You can manage your mind differently. Um,
Hmm.
so the first thing to do is acknowledge, like, okay, I hear a voice in my head and it's telling me, right, what would bottom line it? Could you, Rebecca, say, it's telling me this, one
Hmm.
sentence?
You, okay. If I were to say it in one sentence, I would just say, I'm not knowledgeable enough to handle all this, and it's going to show.
Yeah,
People are going to see. I'm not
I
knowledgeable
don't
enough
know
to
enough.
handle all this stuff.
Yeah,
I don't
I
know
just don't
enough.
know enough.
I'm not going to learn it and I'm not going to be successful and knowledgeable enough
Yeah.
to handle it all.
And you've done a really good example for me of and, and, and. It's like,
Yeah.
it's not just one
Yep.
thing. It's like, well, I'm not knowledgeable enough, and it's going to show, and people are going to laugh at me, and I'm going to be embarrassed. So it has this mind of its own where it just keeps going. So
Hmm.
if you can bottom line and say, okay, I'm just not good enough. Well, the thing about these imposters, gremlins, saboteurs, whatever you want to call them, is they are
Hmm.
part of you and they are part of your makeup and they are part of your brain. So I try and get my clients to actually make friends with them. So this is the
Hmm.
fun part because you, by sweeping it under the carpet and saying, well, I'm just going to ignore that voice, I can tell you now it's not
Hmm.
going to work. It will just
Nope.
keep eating away at you and you will not achieve what you want to achieve.
Now I just want to interrupt because we have somebody, Ginger, who says she has an imposter syndrome too.
Yeah. And we all do. I
Yeah.
mean, it's just,
Yeah.
you think of all the high flying executives that you might, you know, or anyone that you admire, they have them. I mean,
Hmm.
they
We
absolutely
all
have
do.
them. Tony Robbins would have them. It's just, they haven't let them
Everybody does.
stop them from doing the thing, which, whatever it is.
Well, the thing about it is like all these negative thoughts, some can be more painful than others.
Hmm.
And I think that's really why we try to sweep it
Hmm.
away is because it's painful. It can
Well,
be painful.
the emotions they bring up are painful. So most of
Hmm.
the time it's fear. And we as a human race, we do not like fear. But that's a whole other topic. But so,
Well, yeah, but it's true. And this inner voice really has a lot of power to either make or break
that's why you've got
our
to make it your
happiness.
friend. Like, okay, so you
Right.
have this negative thoughts, they're coming up all the time. People try and ignore them, but you've got to actually stop and like acknowledge it and go, huh, this thing keeps coming up. I keep thinking this one thing about myself. And to understand it and to say, it is telling me this because it wants to keep me safe. And that's
Hmm.
all for me. I'm all for simplicity. So don't
Right.
overthink it.
Right.
Like, this voice is telling me I can't do something because it wants to keep me where I am now. Doesn't want me to
Right.
achieve more, doesn't want me to get that promotion. This part of the brain keeps you safe. And that's from way back when we were like, you know, Neanderthals living in a cave. It's like,
Cave
yeah,
people.
this part of the brain works by keeping you safe. Don't go out after dark because you'll get eaten. It's so they're saying, don't start your own business don't try and do online stuff.
Right. Don't take those risks or you might fall. Yeah, exactly. That's really it. And I want to encourage folks that are watching to feel free. We're not just going to talk about imposter syndrome and all that. There's other things too. So go ahead, feel free to type in anything that comes to mind, and we'll chat about it.
Sure.
But that was just my one big thing, and that's something that I'm constantly dealing with right now because I'm in a new business. You know, I'm trying to start something completely new.
Yeah, and that's scary. And so that's when
Yeah.
it's, you know, the voices get louder the more risk there is involved. So,
Right.
so my comments are, you know, get to know your imposters, get to know the triggers, when it happens, what it's saying, and try and think to yourself, what is the truth in this comment? Because I know this sounds crazy, guys, but there is always the tiniest part of truth. And once you work out what the truth is about that statement, so some of it's fact, some of it's fiction, then you can start to work with it because you know, well, this voice keeps saying such and such because I know it's trying to keep me safe. And the truth is, for you, Rebecca, for example, well, yeah, you don't know as much as other people. You know, that is the honest truth. So what can you do about it? And then you can start taking action and break it down. But it doesn't mean you have to stop. Like fear doesn't mean don't do it.
Right. Exactly. And that's really the key. You know, even though it's painful or you have fear, you know, I mean, I'm doing everything myself. I'm learning all these different facets of an online business. And it's, of course I don't know things. Excuse me.
The dog agrees. She might be putting him outside, not sure.
Oh, he's just the best guard dog. I apologize.
He's such a big dog.
He's a guard dog. If there's a car that pulls up, he's on him. Anyway, when you're doing everything yourself, of course I'm not going to know things. I'll never figure it all out.
But
that's what I tell myself.
Yeah. So next time you hear that voice, you can be like, hang on a minute, there she is, or he is, like, make it into a friend and say, I know what you're trying to do. I know you're trying to stop me from achieving this thing. And what is that tiny element of truth in it? And then work on it, like with someone, with a friend. I
think that's a really good point is to run that by someone you trust. You know, do a little fact check.
Yeah.
You know, I'm thinking this again, and they'll probably, you'd be surprised. People are like, I think you do everything perfect. And you're like, oh my gosh, you know what I mean? I'm not perfect, but well.
I know. I get
why are you thinking that? Yeah, exactly. So,
I'm like,
yeah. Well, and it's also kind of the comparison syndrome too. It's not just imposter, but you compare yourself to someone else and go, my gosh, what am I thinking?
Yeah. I mean, there's always people to admire in your line of work. Everyone's line of work. There's always someone to look up to and go, well, they're doing it better than me, or they've got this many clients, or this. And, you know, comparison will kill you. It's more stay curious, which is another thing which I love about coaching. If you can stay super curious about everything, be like, that person over there has way more clients than me. And instead of turning that into a negative, be like, I wonder how she does it. I'm going to ask her.
Right.
So you can learn from those other people rather than feeling intimidated by them.
And I saw a quote yesterday, you know, the leader of our Forever Fierce Revolution group, Catherine Grace O'Connor. There was a friend of hers that did a little live, her name's Carol, and she talked about if you can admire it and see it, you can do it. You probably won't do it the same way as that person, but if you admire it, that means there's something in you that can ignite.
I like that because it's
There's a
true.
passion. There's a passion in there. Yeah. And so instead of saying, oh my gosh, she does it so well, I'll never be able to do it like that, recognize that that's in you and there's a fire and a passion in there and you can do it, but probably not the same
Well,
way,
then it wouldn't be yours.
but you
I
can do
mean, we're all different, right?
it. Yeah. How boring.
Yeah.
But that, yeah, exactly. Exactly. So I thought that was really cool. I enjoyed that. And it's very true. Instead of comparing, just like you said, admire and ask and be
And
curious.
learn.
Learn. Exactly. So anyway, so what kind of advice would you have for folks
Mhm.
to, on a daily basis, on how to handle this inner critic?
Yeah, good one. So, um, get to know it first, and then get to
Mm-hmm,
know your inner leader. So,
mm-hmm,
you know how we hear all these voices, some are negative, but there's usually one positive at least, which is kind of
mm-hmm,
like your true essence. It's your gut feel. It's something that you feel, I know this to be true, and I know that it's worth going through hard times and getting to the other end. It's kind of like, I call it an inner leader. So
mm-hmm,
get to know that. And that's what I do with my work, is to build that resonance and that positivity. Um, and the inner leader can then respond to all the imposters and the saboteurs. And you can call upon that inner leader to say, hey, this really matters to me. So I know it's tough and I know it's scary, but I'm going to do it anyway. So
mm-hmm,
that's one thing. Another thing which not many people know, is to know your life purpose. And that is like, what is the impact that you want to have on the world? Like, what are you doing all this for? And the only person that can
mm-hmm,
answer that is you. No?
mm-hmm,
And it can be really vague. It can be really, I want to leave a calm and relaxing life. If that is your life purpose, it's
mm-hmm,
brilliant. If it is, I want to, climb this mountain and open 6 orphanages overseas, great. But know it.
mm-hmm,
Know what it is, because otherwise you're drifting. So
mm-hmm.
it sounds really hardcore, but for me it's like, no, it's actually the opposite. It's actually really
Yep.
simple to just take some time, like talk it through with friends, someone you trust, whatever it is, but say, what is it that I just want to achieve? And if it's overwhelming, say, well, what do I want to achieve this year? Or what,
Right. Break it down.
yeah.
Break it down. Uh-huh.
And
Yeah.
you're not like chained to it for life.
Right.
This is something
Well, and
that's,
this,
hi, Nikki.
uh-huh.
Hi. So, Nikki, we're just talking about finding your life purpose, which sounds kind of big and
Yep.
overwhelming, but I'm a complete optimist. It's probably why I'm here. But I believe, if you can focus on something, then when you're finding it hard to make a decision, when you feel really bogged down by these negative inner voices, when this happens, you can say, hang on a minute, I'm going to go and look at my life purpose. Like, write it down, whatever it needs to be. Go and look at it and say, is what I'm doing right now helping me live my life the way I want it to? So it just refocuses you, because life is busy, life is confusing, there are way too many decisions to make. And what I want to really help people is, you are in control of your own life. It's so easy to blame other stuff and say, well, can't do that, haven't got the money, haven't got the time, haven't got the right contacts. Like I haven't, setting up your business, I don't know enough. They're all excuses. And people just got to
Mm-hmm.
fess up and say, yeah, I need to cut the bullshit and
Right.
say, I
Mm-hmm.
don't want to do it. Like, actually say no.
This has a lot to do, and that's why I like to bring wellness life coaches on here with me, because this has everything to do with what I do.
Yeah.
When I work with folks, I hear this over and over again. This is impossible. I can't possibly organize
Yeah.
this. This is impossible. What do you mean that I'm like, it's not. It's not impossible. It may be
Yeah.
daunting, but you just keep breaking it down and going smaller and smaller until you feel or until you believe that you can handle that. Go as small as you need to,
Yeah.
but it's not impossible.
No, that's,
For
yeah.
example, yeah, yeah. For example, I had just a really simple home decluttering challenge in April, and it was just little areas every day. I had people that just emailed me, "This is impossible. This is impossible." And I'm like, "Well, then why don't you just pick one or two things instead of,
Yeah.
overwhelming?" But it's like you said, it's that they don't really want to. They just don't really want to. And sometimes it's that voice in their heads. Sometimes people just need someone there to say, you're doing great and you can do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can do this, and you're doing fabulous, even if it's just decluttering the corner,
Yeah, because
that
that's
pile,
like
one
you're
little
in a
pile.
leader, but you're using these outside support systems. I call them
Hmm.
gardeners, Rebecca, which you would like because I know you love
Yeah,
your garden.
I know. Yeah, I love gardening.
So,
Well, and every little bit of self-kindness that you can do for yourself goes so far,
well, another
so
step I was
far.
going to talk about was finding your tribe. So,
Hmm.
and these are gardeners, right? So this is exactly what you're talking
Hmm.
about. Don't hang out with people that bring you down and who are negative, and they act as like food for the saboteur. If you say, I'm so
Hmm.
scared of starting my own business, I'm so scared, I don't think I can do it. And they jump on with, I know, isn't it terrible? I can't believe you're doing it. It's awful. I mean, I'm exaggerating, but
Yeah, yeah, they just chime in. Moby.
the
Excuse
dog
me,
doesn't
sorry.
like it either.
Going
So
outside.
if so don't hang out with those people. They are not your people. It's the same like Ginger's saying here. It's the same with fitness. Yeah, don't hang
Yep.
out with people who love being slobs on the couch and just go, yeah, don't go to the gym today. I hate the gym. It's awful. I hate exercising. They're not your people. So I say to people, find your tribe that want you to grow. They want
Hmm.
you to develop. They're excited by, your enthusiasm. And those are gardeners. Find gardeners, and you can be a gardener for other people. You've got to
Right.
have that self-awareness of, gosh, am I really lifting this person up, or am I just saboteuring
Hmm.
their idea? It just doesn't help anyone.
Right. Which is another good point, and that's a real purposeful effort. It just doesn't happen that you have great influencers around you.
Oh, not all that.
It's
No.
something that's purposeful that you think about and you work on.
Yeah.
And I love that. I really like that point, because that's something I really have been really working on with all these things I'm trying to learn and all the stuff with the imposter syndrome. I just try to surround myself with people who lift me up,
Yeah.
that have a really realistic light about it.
Yeah.
So I think that's real important.
It is. It's so true. Um, so that was another one of my top tips. Like, surround yourself with a really good tribe that you can trust. And if something isn't
Mhm.
serving you, um, someone or something or a habit or a routine, don't do it. Don't do it because you feel you
Right.
should. Like the word should.
Oh, that guilt, that wonderful guilt.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's a whole nother topic, a
It
whole
is.
nother interview. Guilt. Ooh. So we're coming up to
Sure.
11:30. So I wanted to There's Tanya. Hi, Tanya. We've had a lot of good people popping in and out. I'm waving at Tanya. If you have any questions of Claire, this is the time to start typing because we're going to we're going to wrap this up in about 5 minutes. So I wanted to stop and see if anybody had any specific questions. I know we've been talking a lot, but there was a lot of good information that we wanted to get across. And it's such a great conversation, and I might do it again in the next few months because you can never talk about this enough. Go ahead, Claire.
No, I was just going to say, you're right. And this is not an overnight thing. You know, this isn't something where, myself included, I wake up in the morning and I go, yeah, man, I'm totally, saboteurs are out the window. I don't even have one anymore. No, it's a constant progression, and it's a constant kind of, it's a real awareness. That's the biggest thing I can really say, is like being more self-aware. Gosh, you're going to get so much more back, and you're going to be really,
right.
You know, it's going to build that confidence, and you're going to be able to knock these imposters out the park.
Yep, that's exactly true. Do you want to, so I don't see any other questions, I still see people watching. Did you want to take did you want to take a moment and talk about, you were going to talk about some offers that you might be wanting to offer? Okay, and I'm going to get my puppy. You go ahead and present your offers.
No props. I just wanted to say to people who are watching now, or even reviewers, people that come back and watch later, I'm very happy to do like a 30-minute free session with anyone that's been watching or reviewing today, just so you can get a feel for coaching, and we can do it on the phone, you know, via FaceTime, what have you. But for me, being a coach, I just want people to know their potential and what is possible. So 30 minutes, you can email me, which I'll put in the comments. It's lifecoachclaire@outlook.com. You can also go and look on my website, which is southernlifecoaching.com, and just have a browse. Or if you have any questions, you're like, this is one thing that bugs me and I don't know what to do about it, then I can put you on the right path. But yeah, that's what I do with people, is 30 minutes free of charge. Just get an understanding. And if it's for you, great. And if it's not, then it's not. But at least you know.
Great offer. That's wonderful. I would definitely snatch that up. Oh, I'm telling you, that's fabulous. Yeah, go ahead and put your website and your email in the comments. I'm also going to put that in the caption.
Okay, cool.
So that it's more permanent, so people don't have to scroll to find it. But do put it in there. I'll put it in the caption, and also I want to encourage people to also sign up for my email list. That's, my website is the letter R, youreadytoorganize.com. And you can sign up there. There'll be a nice little pop-up that'll come up and get great home organizing tips and tools and challenges, and meet all kinds of fascinating people like this, like Claire.
Yeah.
So go ahead and pop over there and sign up. And then so really the call to action today is just get in touch with Claire. And take advantage of that wonderful offer.
Yeah, even questions. I'm always really eager to learn, and like I said, you stay curious. What is it that really hit home with you today? Or what is it that you didn't quite understand that I was talking about? Or what is it that you need to know more about? I mean, I can flick articles your way, or I just want people to live their best life. That's all there is to it. So
absolutely.
However you want to do that is good with me.
Yeah, because I know in these live interviews and on Facebook Live, people are they have some trepidation and they may not talk.
Yeah.
But go ahead and email. Feel free to contact in other ways. I respect that. If you just want to observe, that's great. But just feel free to email and ask questions that way. If you don't understand, if you loved what you heard, or if you want more information, that's fabulous.
Totally. there's no such
Okay.
thing as,
Anything else?
a bad question. So just be
No,
good
no,
to
no, no.
yourself and do the right thing and start working for yourself. Like, put some effort into your needs and the impact that you want to have.
And it's just that this discussion is so relevant to our busy lives. This is just such a great way to anchor yourself and feel more content with what great people we are,
Yeah.
because we are, and instead of beating ourselves down. Okay, well, Moby's still really excited, as you can tell. He is not settling down. I really apologize about the puppy love,
Yeah.
but
Number one
there's no other
fan.
way to handle him except pick him up. So, all right, folks. So we're going to go ahead and end. Again, I'm going to put all this information in the caption. You've got Claire's email right here, and then you've got my website. Jump on in, talk to us, tell us how we can help. And for those of you who are not part of the Facebook group, join that. And Claire has a page too, so we'll put that in here. You have a Facebook
I
page.
do. I'm not on there every day.
Yeah, I love it.
I've got to tell you,
So she's going to give us that too.
I think summer has really hit me sideways. I'm just like, oh, wow, I've got so much to do. I really have to just prioritize right now. I am on there too, and
That's
Instagram
okay.
too, but anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Time's up, I guess.
Great. Yes, so we'll put all that in the caption, and I want to thank everybody for coming and for the folks that are coming back to watch. And again, we'll put all that great, fabulous information in the caption. So just jump on over there so you don't have to scroll and scroll and scroll. But I would love it if you would scroll, because there's great comments in there. So Claire, I want to thank you again for your time and for coming on. And Moby says, I'll try to be better next time.
She's cute.
Well,
thank you, Rebecca.
Okay.
Thanks for inviting me and for just being my technical hero with the issues we had last time.
We did it.
I know.
We did the whole interview with no problems. That's fabulous.
You said it was easy.
Okay. All right. Thanks, everybody, for coming. Bye, Claire.
Bye now. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.